Welcome back to Folklore Journeys, the podcast where we journey through the rich tapestry of myths and legends from around the globe. Today, we delve into the captivating world of South Korean folklore. Joining us is Minha, a native of South Korea, to enlighten us with her insights. Welcome, Minha!
Thank you for having me!
Before we dive into the enchanting realm of Korean mythology, could you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Of course, I'm Minha, born in South Korea and raised in 6 different countries.
Wow, that's certainly a lot of countries. But today we're just going to center on South Korea. So let's embark on our journey to Korean mythology. South Korean folklore is like a colorful quilt made from history, religion, and tradition. For centuries, storytellers across the Korean peninsula have created tales of gods and goddesses, heroes and heroines, and magical creatures. These stories weren't just entertainment. They served as guides, teaching moral lessons and explaining the mysteries of the world. As we journey through Korean mythology today, let's remember to respect and appreciate the cultural heritage these stories represent. Each tale offers a glimpse into the collective imagination of the people, reflecting their values, fears, and dreams. Today, we have the privilege of exploring part of those stories alongside Minha, who's here to help us understand them better, drawing from her own experiences in South Korea. Together, we'll cross the landscape of some Korean legends and discuss their significance. But before we embark on our mythical odyssey, let us take a moment to appreciate the beauty and complexity of South Korean culture. From bustling cities to tranquil countryside, from ancient temples to modern skyscrapers, South Korea is a vibrant tapestry of tradition and innovation. So, dear listeners, sit back and prepare to be enchanted as we journey into the captivating world of South Korean folklore. Minha, could you share with us some traditional Korean myths or legends that hold particular significance to you?
Well, one myth that resonates deeply with me is the tale of Chunhyangjeon, a story of love and resilience that has been cherished for generations in Korea.
Could you tell us about this story?
It begins with a giseng named Wolme who lived in Namwon during a time when social classes were rigidly defined. She managed to capture the heart of a civil minister and had a daughter named Chunhyang, symbolizing the promise of spring.
That's a beautiful symbolism. You said that Chunhyang's mother was a giseng. Could you explain what's this?
A giseng was a female entertainer skilled in various arts like music, dance, and poetry, often associated with the pleasure of quarters of Korean society. Now, when Chunhyang grew up into a woman, the son of a district magistrate, Lee Mong-yong, fell in love with her. Despite initial hesitations, Chunhyang and Mong-yong's love flourished and they married.
A love story across social classes must have faced some challenges.
Mong-yong's father received a promotion in Seoul, forcing them to part ways.
I remember reading that his father thought that a daughter of a giseng would bring shame to the family, so that's why they didn't bring her.
Yeah, this left Chunhyang vulnerable to a corrupt magistrate named Pyeonhak-do. She refused to submit to Pyeonhak-do's advances and faced imprisonment. Then Mong-yong returned in disguise as an amengosa tasked with uncovering corruption.
Before we continue, what's an amengosa?
It's a secret royal inspector who was tasked with rooting out corruption and injustice in secret, serving as the king's undercover agent.
Okay, so an undercover agent sounds pretty interesting in this love story.
So he disguised himself as a homeless man and approached Chunhyang to see how she'd treat him. She was kind and polite, but she made it very clear that she only loved Mong-yong. Mong-yong then exposed the corruption of Pyeonhak-do, ultimately uniting with Chunhyang and restoring justice. Their love prevailed against all odds, embodying the enduring spirit of Korean folklore.
That's such a lovely story. Thank you for sharing it with us. It seems that this story embodies the Korean values of loyalty, honor, and honesty. Now, how would you say that these and other myths and legends influence contemporary Korean culture and society?
Korean myths serve as a cultural compass, guiding our values, morals, and norms. They also give our people a sense of pride and identity.
It's very interesting how folklore serves a similar purpose around the world. Now, let's delve a little bit deeper. Are there any regional variations or lesser known stories within Korean mythology that you find captivating?
Absolutely. The tale of Heungbu and Nolbu is a lesser known story that illustrates themes of kindness and generosity prevailing over greed and selfishness.
Could you tell us about this story?
Heungbu and Nolbu is a classic Korean folktale. There were two brothers named Heungbu and Nolbu. Heungbu was poor but kind-hearted, while Nolbu was rich but greedy and mean. One day, Heungbu found a swallow with a broken leg. He helped the bird and in return, it gave him a seed. Heungbu planted the seed and it grew into a gourd vine, producing many gourds filled with treasures. Nolbu, being jealous of his brother's sudden wealth, decided to get rich too. He tried to replicate Heungbu's success by purposely breaking a swallow's leg and treating it. The following spring, he is punished for his cruelty. Instead of treasures, the gourds had thieves and monsters that took away all of his wealth. The story teaches the values of kindness, generosity, and the consequences of greed. Heungbu, being the good-hearted brother, took Nolbu in and cared for him. Nolbu realized his mistakes and changed his ways, becoming kind and generous like his brother. In the end, Heungbu and Nolbu lived happily together, sharing their wealth and kindness with others.
Wow, this is such an intriguing story. It's fascinating how legends from different cultures can share different themes and motives. I can especially think of two. The first one is The Fisherman and His Wife by the Grimm brothers, which tells of a humble fisherman who catches a magical fish, granting wishes in exchange for its freedom, but his wife keeps asking him to catch it repeatedly to fulfill her insatiable desires, which lead them to request extravagant wishes, ultimately resulting in their downfall as the fish grants their final wish, returning them to their former impoverished state. We can see that greed is a central theme in this tale. But there's a second tale that shares even more parallelisms with your story. This is the French fairy tale called Diamonds and Toads by Charles Perrault. It tells the story of two sisters, one kind and gentle, the other cruel and selfish, just like the two brothers in your story. The kind sister encounters a fairy disguised as an old woman and generously offers her water, and she receives the gift of diamonds falling from her mouth whenever she speaks. But their mother sends the second daughter, which was her favorite, and the fairy disguised as a princess instead. And the sister spoke rudely and insulted her, so she was punished with toads and vipers falling from her mouth whenever she spoke. The tale teaches the virtues of kindness and generosity similar to the Korean story. Having heard of these similar stories, it is clear that these topics repeat across the world. Now let's travel back to South Korea. Can you tell us about any recurring themes or motifs in Korean folklore?
Themes of filial piety, loyalty, and the internal struggle between good and evil are recurrent in Korean folklore. The concept of jong, or deep emotional bonds, is also prominently featured.
Jong sounds like a beautiful concept. Now transitioning to our next topic, could you tell me how has the portrayal of mythological figures evolved over time in Korean storytelling?
Mythological figures have evolved from being deities and spirits to embodying archetypes that reflect the complexities of human nature. They are portrayed as relatable characters facing universal struggles.
It's an interesting evolution from something ethereal to themes that are closer to us. Speaking of this connection between humans and spirituality, are there any rituals or festivals in Korea that are rooted in mythology or folklore?
Yeah, festivals like Chuseok are steeped in mythology. They honor ancestral spirits and celebrate nature's bounties.
What is this festival about?
Chuseok is a major harvest festival and a traditional holiday in Korea, often referred to as Korean Thanksgiving. It's celebrated on the 15th day of the 8th month of the lunar calendar, which usually falls in September or October. During Chuseok, families come together to give thanks for the harvest and to honor their ancestors through rituals such as ancestral memorial services, visiting ancestral graves, and preparing special foods like songpyeon, which are rice cakes. It's a time for family gatherings, feasting, and showing respect for one's heritage and elders.
Do you think that Korean folklore and mythology connects to your daily life?
Yes, but it's not easily seen. It's intertwined with our traditional practices like ancestor worship to modern expressions such as K-dramas and pop culture references.
Speaking of culture, in what ways do you think Korean mythology reflects the values and beliefs of the culture?
Korean mythology reflects our collective resilience, harmony with nature, and reverence for the past. It reinforces the importance of community, family, and honor. It sounds like a beautiful culture. Now, in your opinion, why do you think it's important to preserve and celebrate these myths in modern times? Preserving our myths ensures that future generations remain rooted in their cultural heritage, fostering a sense of continuity and identity in an ever-changing world. Lastly, what do you hope listeners take away from our discussion on Korean mythology today? I hope listeners gain a deeper appreciation for the rich Korean folklore and its relevance in shaping our cultural landscape. Thank you, Minha, for sharing your insights into the enchanting world of Korean mythology. Thank you too for having me in this episode. Join us next time as we uncover more tales from around the globe. Thank you for listening to Folklore Journeys. Until next time. This has been Bernardita signing off.